wires. It was up to 4 feet. He immediately he was shut down for 90 minutes. He handled that matter in a expeditious fashion within the 90-minute time frame, and had the problem, the violation taken care of. He sells fireworks in St. Clair Shores. He's licensed to sell fireworks in St. Clair Shores right now. He's sold fireworks in Sterling Heights, Madison Heights, Lenox Township. One of the issues that may concern this council was respect to the punishment he received with respect to the convictions that he had. He successfully completed, I do have a letter from the 40th District Court where he successfully completed his term of probation, where he was drug tested, where he reported on a weekly basis. He completed that within 8 months, even though he was given a year's probation. The city of the city of St. Clair Shores gave him a license with respect to that matter. I believe a lot of what is going on and what we're facing right here is when my client applied for the application, he probably went the route that I would not have taken, in the sense that the media was called in, and I think that caused people to dig their heels and attempt not to give him the relief that he wanted. But there really is nothing contained within that letter that would pertain to his good moral character, absent those convictions. Like I said, your statute indicates that that cannot be the sole criteria for denying him this request. He is a father of 2. Like I said, he's done everything that he's supposed to do. He's met your criteria. He's sold in the past. So we're asking that you grant him the license to sell the fireworks. He's ready. He's able to go. He has a lease that he got on, what is it, 13 Mile in Hoover, which he's already prepaid. There's approximately $10,000 in product that he's already paid. Part of the reason why he went through this, and I would like to emphasize, is that he has had no problems in the past. He's had his license in the past. So I would ask that you grant him this license. You can question him if you want, or however you would like to proceed with this.
Okay. Having heard the appeal, can I get a motion and support, and then we can go for further discussion from there?
Motion to deny.
Motion by Mr. Green to deny.
Support.
I'm sorry, Mr. Baccarmino, support. Further discussion. Any council members?
I have a question.
Mr. Liss.
Either to the attorney or to... Oh, thank you. To Mr. Green. In your letter, Mr. Green, you're saying it's Chapter 13 that regulates the sale of fireworks. Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the chart. And a question to Mr. Burnett. Are these proceedings de novo, or do we have to consider what's on the record?
Microphone, please.
Excuse me. I believe that these are essentially de novo hearing, because there is no record in this case, especially Judge Masseroni remanded this matter back to the City Council.
For administrative relief?
Yes, for relief if any was to be given, at which time the arguments could be made and were made. And I, just for the record, I have been advised that the city attorney plays no role in this process, and the city, if this were, say, if there were a denial, I believe they would be back before Judge Masseroni tomorrow. Is that correct?
At 1:30.
At 1:30, at which time Ms. Michaels would be representing the city.
Thank you. I have a question for Mr. Green. Is there anything you want to add to the record?
The council's correct. The using the criminal history of the plaintiff is not the sole reason that I made my decision. Section 18.8 clearly states that my assessment of good moral character has to, the substance of the former offenses have to be somehow related to the occupation for which this person is applying for the license, and that I have to make an assessment as to whether or not I feel that person is rehabilitated. certainly based on his criminal history and the repeated pattern of controlled substance violations, I don't think he's rehabilitated. And as far as the nexus between his criminal record and the business for which he applies, everyone knows that that fireworks, it's heavily regulated business. It's heavily regulated because there's a great propensity for illegal sales, and this person has proven that he's been involved in illegal sales before, whether it be narcotics or it could be potentially the illegal sales of fireworks. Everyone knows there's great potential for that. That's why it's heavily regulated. In addition to that, there are a number of issues that evolved during this process. One being that the plaintiff was having Channel 4 with him all the time, following me around when I come outside of meetings, when I come outside the circuit court. I didn't really appreciate that, and I feel that's an assessment of his moral character as well. In addition to that, it's been suggested to me that they just apply for the license in someone else's name, and that's a violation of City Ordinance 1816 and 1812, which provides that the license can't be issued based on fraud and misrepresentation. With all those things said, I certainly feel that there's a relationship between his criminal activity and the license that he's applying for, and I'm responsible for public safety in the city of Warren. Thus, my judgment was to deny his request.
Thank you, Mr. Green. I yield.
Then I'm going to call a question. There was a motion to deny by Mr. Green and a support by Mr. Bacamino. Mr. Green.
Yes to deny.
Mr. Bacamino.
Yes to deny.
Ms. Comartin.
Yes to deny.
Mr. Liss.
Yes.
Mr. Sadowski.
Yes.
Mr. Stevens.
Yes to deny.
Ms. Boat.
Yes.
Mr. Warner.
Yes to deny.
Camp, yes. The motion to deny passed unanimously.
Thank you, Counsel.
Our next agenda item is item G2. This is approval of the proposed City of Warren / Warren Police Command Officers Association collective bargaining agreement.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Motion by Mr. Liss.
Support.
Support by Mr. Sadowski. Any discussion?
Madam Chair.
Ms. Vogt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Here, Mr. Schimmel.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you very much, Mr. Schimmel, for getting at least the outline. These are the key points
You're
of
welcome.
the contract.
I hope you got my second one as well. My second email. I sent you one around 3:30 or 4 o'clock as well.
Telling us that it had been approved.
Yeah, I sent you one this morning and then one later in the afternoon, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but the timetable on this whole thing went so quickly, I was trying to do my best to keep all of you informed the best I could.
And I appreciate that very much. This was approved 11 to 19? The vote?
Yes, 19 to 11.
Okay. My concern, it's always been my position that when two parties negotiate and they reach an agreement and the membership approves, then, who are we to say otherwise? Okay?
Good.
I know it's here for us to approve, but here's where I have an issue. The captain's positions are to be appointed. How many captain's positions? 3 or 4? There's already one appointed.
Two.
Can I make some comments and come back to that first? Can I say this? First of all, I want to express my appreciation to Commissioner Green and Lou Galasso and Dave Hendrickson, to Denise Williams, to Mark Simler, and especially to Mike Coretta, Heidi Metz, and their team. This councilwoman vote was something that was put together. It started last Thursday. It was what I consider to be not the first time anything like this has ever happened, but I thought it was rather amazing that we could get all of the parties together, including Howard Schiffman. We worked very, very hard all day long to come up with this agreement, and I think it's credit to all of these people to have gotten this thing together. I want to make a comment, if I could, about an article that appeared over the weekend that's related to this in the Macomb Daily, which I read it as if I were taking pot shots or criticizing certain council people, especially Councilman Stevens, Bacamino, Warner, Green, and Sadowski. I felt it, the way I read it, it was saying that I was criticizing these people. I want to assure them that nothing could be further from the truth. I wasn't criticizing anybody. My comments were made a year and a half ago, by the way, and I just want to clear that up, that I was not taking pot shots or cheap shots at you folks. What I said a year and a half ago, and I say it again today, that this process of trying to downsize Warren, save money, deal with the budget, deal with the union contracts. This is a difficult process, and I said at that time, as you'll recall, that I think we need to make a 15% cut in labor contracts across the board, and I say that again today. But I guess maybe I should have made it clear, and I thought I did, that we'll take whatever we can early and more later. That still holds true. And in labor negotiations, you cannot get everything you want all at once. And after I made those comments, no union came in the door the next morning and said, gee, I hear you need 15%, and I'll give it to you. Nothing like that ever happens. So we do what we can when we can, and we use our best judgment, and we take what we can at the proper times. And I think we did a pretty good job taking approximately 5% from 5 unions at one time. I think we're doing a very good job with this particular contract.
Okay, Mr. Schimmel?
And I just think it's very important to understand that this process doesn't go as fast as people, as I would like it and as all of us would like it. I'll get off of that. I'm done with that. Go ahead.
Thank you. Nice speech.
Okay.
Okay, now, I ask questions.
Yeah.
Okay?
I'm not going to go through item by item in
No,
this
I asked
TA.
you one.
Okay.
One. All right?
I'll give you one.
I'm
Go ahead.
sorry.
All right. Go ahead.
I asked you about the captain's positions.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
How many captains are there?
2.
There's only 2?
There's 2. Right now there's 2.
Okay, there's one appointed
That's right.
and only one other captain?
That's right.
All right. And what happens to that captain now if, and I assume the appointment means Mr. Fouts is doing the appointing.
That's right.
What happens to that captain now?
He's in fine shape. As far as I know, he's doing well.
Okay, but Mr. Fouts could say, I want a different appointee in there. What happens to the captain?
I'm not going to play what-if games. I think...
Well, I think that's a legitimate concern, Mr. Schimmel.
Well, that's fine, but I don't have the answer to that question.
All right, so there's... I need to go back and take a look at the budget. You're telling me there's only 2 budgeted...
I would tell you that the one captain that is now in the union will stay in the union, and that won't change until he leaves, and when he leaves, there would